Breaking news now. El miércoles, Putin sería presente en el cumbre virtual del G20. El primer evento en mucho tiempo, en el que juntaron a Putin y los líderes occidentales será el tema principal. Vladimir Putin, President of Russia, informó este domingo, the 19th of November 2023, a la televisión estatal rusa que, después de la cumbre celebrada en septiembre en India, participaría el miércoles en una reunión virtual de dirigentes del G20. Vladimir Putin will participate in the virtual summit of the G20, the television network Vesti announced in a social media post that detailed the Russian presidential agenda this week. El presentador ruso de la televisión indicó que en este caso se tratará del primer evento en mucho tiempo, en el que llevarán a cabo tanto Putin como los líderes occidentales. Putin, who has been diplomatically isolated since the start of the Russian offensive in Ukraine in February 2022, was not present at the two most recent G20 summits, in September in India and in Indonesia last year, and Sergei Lavrov, Russia's Minister of Foreign Affairs, represented Russia. The Russian minister is currently facing an arrest warrant issued in March by the International Criminal Court, ICC, on charges of having deported children from areas of Ukraine that are occupied by Russia. El G20 se unió a los 19 países con las economías más grandes del planeta, incluyendo la Unión Europea, que representan el 85% del PIB mundial. Taisha Rinpoche has leveled accusations of double standards against the European Union and certain Western nations for their stances on Vladimir Putin's war in Ukraine and Israel's actions in Gaza. Leo Varadkar stated on Artes The Week in Politics that Ireland went out on a bit of a limb, internationally when it was one of the first nations to demand a ceasefire. From the very first few days after this phase of the conflict began, Ireland took a very clear position that Israel had a right to defend itself, but did not have the right to breach humanitarian law, said Mr. Varadkar. In terms of increasing humanitarian aid for Gaza, he said that Ireland had been extremely active. I don't think that is true in relation to Ireland, he said when asked if the opposition was right that there were different approaches to Gaza and Ukraine's situation. That is, if they mean the European Union and a few Western nations when they say that. I believe they are right. There can be no double standards regarding the conflict in Ukraine. I made that point at the peace conference in Paris. Furthermore, international humanitarian law must be applied uniformly. It is seen as double standards that the absolute rejection of what Putin has done in Ukraine is not being matched with a similar response in relation to Israel. The Taisha further stated that the United States military is not utilizing Shannon Airport to transfer weaponry to Israel. No airport in Ireland will let you pass munitions without their explicit consent. They require approval from both the Minister of Transport and the Department of Transport. That is not going to happen, he stated. He was making his remarks just before a Dáil debate on a People Before Profit solidarity motion, which claims that the airport does not inspect U.S. military planes as they fly through.